Well, on the NexGen Facebook page, Morrison Luke Smith was wanting some zebra stripe jerseys, and he got his wish. NexGen taking on Spinners. We're playing by AUDL rules today. An interesting game for the bus, as they've never played by the AUD rules before. Philadelphia Spinners playing in the regional finals this weekend against Rhode Island Rampage, wanting to keep their skills sharp. Should be an interesting test here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The 8th game for the NexGen Tour. Coming off 2 close wins from Boston and New York. NexGen now quite a different type of competition. Spinners, hot team in the AUDL this year. Inaugural season for the professional league, American Ultimate Disc League. So for those of you at home who are unfamiliar with a bit of the rule changes, I can go over what I know. First of all, the field is clearly different. We're playing on a full football field, 20-yard end zones, 80-yard field length, 53 1/3 yards wide. No observers in today's game. We're going to call them referees instead. And we're not going to have we're not playing to 15, 4 12-minute quarters. So that's a 24-minute half. Average games usually go about 50, 60 points. So certainly going to be a marathon test for the All-Stars in this game. As I said, Philadelphia Spinners are competing in the AUDL, but most of these guys are going to transfer over to the USA Ultimate Series under the name of Southpaw. Don't be confused by our website. It says that we're playing Southpaw, but we are playing the Spinners. And we are not playing Southpaw also. It's one game, same team. A lot of talk from the NexGen All-Stars on the bus about how to approach this game. Certainly their biggest test is going to be playing the full 4 quarters. A 15-man roster going against a 26-man roster. The talent is there, the athleticism is there, but do they have the endurance? It's a big question for the bus today. Captains Eric Johnson and Matt Rader going over with their team. Some few last-minute adjustments. Now in the middle of the field, we're going to have the official flip to see who decides. Representing the Spinners, Troy Katzenbach. Calling the flip with Matt Rader and Eric Johnson. Looks like NexGen wins the flip. Being informed of some more rule differences. In the USAU rules, we have the players doing a 10-second stall count. Here in the AUDL, it's a 7-second stall count, counted by the referees. Of course, if you've ever played on the field, you know that a 10-second count by the players, not always a full 10. So about equal time. Probably won't be too much of a difference for the All-Stars, as they like to play with their quick movement. And both lines on the field, it looks like NexGen is starting on defense. D-line for the bus, Nick Lance, Jimmy Mickle, Will Driscoll, Eric Johnson, Chris Kocher, Tommy Lee, and Tommy Lamar. Jimmy Mickle with the pull. And here we go, game started. Katzenbach on the sideline. Brandoff off Bear. Back to Brandoff. All the way to Katzenbach. Over to Thor. And a quick turn as Jimmy Mickle gets to the disc. Intended pass for Matt Glazer. Eric Johnson now in possession. Swings it to Lance. All the way across the field to Driscoll. Tommy Lee with the disc. Upline to Driscoll. He's not in. And finds Mickle going over the top of everyone. First point is a break for the NexGen All-Stars. Great start for them. Go up 1-0. They look like they were doing a great job using that full 53 yards. 13-yard difference than what they're used to. Clock stops between points. It'll start again when the first offensive player touches the disc after the pull. Matt Rader set to pull. Rainwater on the sideline, back to Bear. Around to David Brandoff. Stoddard, Brandoff, Lauda. Brandoff, a big key in this offensive cog. Great reset handler. And Rainwater going deep, looking for Herman. Janin is there. And Janin able to get a piece of the disc. 2 Ds in the first point, and the first 2 points for the NexGen. They're off and running on offense. Thorne back on his goal line. Free child. Thorne. Nice grab from Janin. David Baird bidding hard, unable to get it. And DiGirolamo floats one up to Rader. Rader unable to get a hand on it. Second possession for the Spinners offense this point. Katzenbach on the sideline. Brandoff breaks it to Bear. Rainwater holding back that huck this time. And Matt Rader, nice layout D in front of Nalauda. Second chance to score. Rader leading Janin. And Janin getting up over Bear, making this 2-0. Great defensive point for the bus. Two wonderful defensive plays. Jacob Janin in the end zone. And then Matt Rader getting it back on a layout D underneath. And very patient offense from the NexGen All-Stars. They realize that this is a long game and that scoring quickly may not be to their best advantage. I'm sure we'll see them play the ball a lot around with the handlers, moving from side to side, not wanting to tire themselves out too early in this match. Pull by Jimmy Mickle. Line change from the Spinners, not their typical offensive line. And that huck is going to find Greg Owens easy. Greg Owens, a big defensive player on the Spinners team. Usually leading the team in Ds, but he's going to start it out with a goal this time. And it looks like the full line for the Spinners is going to stay on that point, as they didn't have to work too hard on the offensive possession. Matt Galen to pull. He gets it the full 80 yards. Great start off, vertical stack from the bus. Tommy Lee up to Nick Lance. And Nick Lance flick to Jimmy Mickle. What a throw from the Callahan winner out of Georgia Tech. Hitting Jimmy Mickle in stride. No one's going to get there. First offensive point for the NexGen. Easy possession for them. They're up 3-1 early in this game. 8 minutes left in the first quarter. Offensive line for the Spinners. David Brandoff, Stephen Thor. It's got to be Matt Glazer, Jake Herman, Trey Katzenbach. David Bear and Jake Rainwater rounding that line out. Katzenbach to Rainwater. Up to Herman on the sideline. Looking for a dump, can't get it off. Katzenbach is there. Bear. Rainwater. Rainwater over the top. And Katzenbach sneaks over on that big dead sideline. Rainwater goes over the top. Switching roles. Rainwater usually in the receiving end of the goals. And Katzenbach throwing them. This game within one. NexGen up 3-2. Defensive point for Philly as Matt Galen pulls that one. Colin Camp picking up the scoober from Nick Lance. Jacob Jannon wide open in the middle of the field. He puts a backhand to Will Driscoll. Greg Owens is there. But Will Driscoll able to get up big on the physical play. Another quick offensive point. The Bus up 4-2. .7:17 left in this first quarter. Bus on defense, Jimmy Mickle to pull. Rainwater in the middle of the field. Dumps it off to Katzenbach. Quick upfield to Herman. All the way back to Katzenbach in the middle of the field. And the first whistle of this game on the offense. A minor foul, so that's a 5-yard loss. Herman on the sideline. Nalauda putting up a huck. And Stephen Thor unable to come down with it. He was coming under as that huck went up. Great job to adjust and try to make a play on it. Unable to. Bus offense rolling. Allison Hall on the sideline. Up to Mickle. Mickle wanting a hammer of his own. Holsters. Gets the scoober off to Kocher. Kocher, plenty of space to hit Rader in the middle of the field. He goes all the way around. 53 yards. Kocher hitting the turf to save that disc. And here we go. We are seeing the double team rule. They get a hand on it, but Jimmy Mickle able to scoop it up off the ground. Jimmy Mickle on the sideline, 10 yards out. Inside across to Allison Hall. Thorne in the middle of the field. Backhand break, and Kocher wide open on the dead side. Another break for the Bus in this first quarter. Three breaks in the first quarter, and the Spinners are going to put on their D-line for another offensive point. Free child pulling for the bus. Panda receives it on the sideline. A junky defense from the NexGen line. They've fallen into man. Panda has it on the sideline, past midfield. Owens. And he gets Leon Chow in the end zone. Spinners down 2, scores 5-3. Four minutes left in the first quarter. On a field that's 53 yards wide, it's certainly in favor of the offense as they have a lot more space to pick apart whatever defense is thrown at them. So far in this game, NexGen offense not having much trouble working the disc down to field. And we see a zone look from the Spinners as Matt Rader out of bounds. Not seeing the line. Spinners with their first chance for a break. Stoddard in the middle of the field, 10 yards outside his end zone. Jaffa, back to Stoddard. And a foul called on Lamar. Players downfield don't stop for fouls and AODL rules. Didn't seem to matter much. The Stoddard finds Jaffe in the end zone. AUDL gets a break back. Sorry, Spinners get a break back. Bring this game back within 1. Galen, big pull, 85 yards. And Philip Haas, backhand to Jimmy Mickle. He's got Owens on his back. Able to box him out. But drops it at the very end. Good bit of body work from Jimmy Mickle. Now in 2 points, Spinners have a chance to break again. And there's a huck from Leon Chow. Sean Murray getting past Colin Camp. Big huck from Chow. This game is now tied at 5s with about 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Pull coming from Harrison Trigub. Philip Haas receives. Horizontal stack from the bus. Again, we see a zone from the spinners. A blade trying to go all the way across the field, floats too much. Spinners gets it back. Johnson with the disc. Trigub. Johnson. Stoddard right in the middle of the field. So just like that, 3 breaks for the spinners, puts this game back on serve. Spinners up 6-7. 6-5. And a foul called on the throw, or on the spinners, before Philip Haas had released the disc. Walking up and walking it back. Looks like they're actually losing yards. Disc now back in play. Koch on the sideline. Up to Haas. Lamar in the middle of the field. All the way around to Raider. Camp. Camp floats one. Thorne is there, but not enough sideline. Wanting the strip call, not getting it. Spinners coach Jeff Snader on the field talking to the referee. It looks like the integrity rule was used. Integrity rule, the player on the field. So the integrity rule, playing something like you might see in soccer, where if there's an injury, you kick the ball out and then the other team will give you back possession, happening there on the field. Coach for the Spinners agreeing that the call might have been bad, telling his players to give the disc back. So NexGen able to get it on the goal line. Tied up. Integrity rule, maybe the future of the spirit of the game. Certainly in the next evolution here in the AUDL. NexGen gets a lucky break there as they tie this game at 6. Bear on the sideline. Immediately goes with a huck for Katzenbach. Lee is there. Great play by Trey Katzenbach. On his goal line. Dumps to Rainwater. And Rainwater looking for the swing to Randolph. Didn't see the crowd of NexGen players. NexGen defense now with the disc. .20 seconds left here in this first quarter. Nick Lance all the way over to Will Driscoll. Will Driscoll leading pass, floating up there. And Tommy Lee, great play. Getting over Jake Rainwater. Lots of players in that pack. But Tommy Lee coming up over everyone. 7 seconds left in the first quarter. All-Stars put on a big D-line. Lots of tall players. Expecting a Hail Mary huck from the Spinners in the final seconds of this game, of this quarter. Break for NexGen puts them up 7-6. And Jimmy Mickle to pull for what should be the last point of the first quarter. High floating pull. Katzenbach receives. Matt Galen. And that goes off. Time has run out. NexGen comes up with it, but it didn't seem to matter, as it would have been outside the end zone. That is the end of the first quarter. NexGen up 7-6. Exciting first quarter of play so far. NexGen going up 3 breaks. Spinners getting them all back. And we get our first commercial during a quarter and not a timeout. Should be an interesting game here in Philadelphia. We'll be back in a minute. And welcome back to Philadelphia. NexGen All-Stars playing a different game today. Going against Philadelphia Spinners under American Ultimate Disc League rules. We just came back from the first quarter, now about to start the second quarter. Score is 7-6. And 25% of the way through the game. NexGen has already played what would normally be close to a half of a game under USAU rules. The 15-man roster having one of their toughest challenges today, essentially playing 2 games in one night in terms of the number of points that they're going to have. Currently up 7-6. They were able to go up by a break in the first quarter. A lot of big runs from both teams. In the second quarter, Spinners are going to start on defense. Matt Galen with the pull. He has had a strong throw, almost getting it the full 80 yards every time. Horizontal offense from the bus. As Colin Camp has the disc, dishes it off to Freechild. Good bid by Michael Pana, but Jacob Janin able to get in front. Freechild now on the sideline. Pana all over Janin. And Janin goes deep to Raider. Raider misreads it. Couldn't get the full jump that he wanted. Turnover. Spinners defense getting possession. Middle of the field on the goal line, 80 yards to go. It's Matt Galen taps the disc in. Pana. Galen Owens. All the way across that field. And a huck goes up to Sean Murray. DiGirolamo is there. DiGirolamo can't get a hand on it, but it looks like Leon Chow did. Unable to hold on to it, though. He might have forgot which side of the ball he's playing on. Matt Raider holstering the huck. Free child on the sideline. Quick upfield to Janin. Free child, good inside break across the field. This NexGen offense slows down their game. No need to rush these points. Free child, high count. Janin and Janin. Quick flip to cousin Tyler DiGirolamo. NexGen offense. First point in the second quarter. They're now up 8-6. You might have heard about this cousin connection between Tyler DiGirolamo and Jacob Janin. We found out in the first couple days of the tour that Jacob Janin and Tyler DiGirolamo have a common lineage in great-grandmother, Rafaela DiGirolamo. First defensive point from the bus in the second quarter. Bear receives it, and Spinners is off going quickly. Rainwater, Glazer. Defensive foul, 5 yards gained by the offense. Just gets tapped in. Brandoff, marked by Thorne on the sideline. Centers it to Katzenbach. Thor. And Glazer sneaking it up the sideline past Lamar. And that is a goal for Jake Herman. Jake Herman, top goal scorer on the squad. In the top 3. Big offensive cutter. We were at 8-7, 9 minutes left in the second quarter. NexGen feeling like this should be halftime already. Philadelphia Spinners quite comfortable where they are. Harrison Treegroup to pull. That lands right on the sideline. Philip Haas getting it around to the other field to Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson. Floaty disc to Raider. Raider Great job holding off his defender. Tries to float it to Philip Haas. But a lot of players in there. Disc drops in the confusion. Trigub now with the disc. And a timeout called on the field. Spinners taking the first timeout of the half. Down 7-8 with their defensive line with the disc. A great chance to get a break and tie this game at 8. So far, an even match between the NexGen All-Stars and the top AUDL team, Philadelphia Spinners. Another interesting note in AUDL rules, during a timeout, a team is allowed to substitute any number of players on the line. Of course, in USA Ultimate, you can't substitute any players unless it's an injury timeout. And it looks like the All-Stars have taken advantage of that. Taking out a handful of their players. I'm not quite sure which ones. Brandoff and Katzenbach now in. Looks like the Spinners have subbed in most of their offensive line. That disc goes to Rainwater, but gets off his hand. Freechild picks it up in the backfield. Mickle. Freechild. Using that wide field, getting it to Lance. Lamar in the middle. And Lamar trying to get the flat throw off to Freechild. Freechild was going up line. Philadelphia Spinners still with a chance to break here. As Brandoff has it in the middle of the field. Lefty leading pass to Katzenbach. That one hits the turf. Lamar and Johnson playing with it on the sideline. And a travel called. No travel called. A travel called, but only a loss of yards. And Eric Johnson, big hammer, maybe intended for Will Driscoll, but Tommy Lamar is there to clean up. NexGen offense able to put that point in. Keeps their lead 9-7. Traveling, another one of those rule changes here in the AUDL. If the travel is on the catch, meaning as a receiver is getting it, maybe accelerates, changes directions when he catches it, that's a loss of yards. But if the thrower has already established his pivot foot and travels, that is considered a turnover. So Philadelphia Spinners on their offensive point, trying to find Michael Panda deep, but it's just too far. Now with 6.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Alex Thorne tapping the disc in. NexGen defense with a chance to break. Katra in the middle of the field. DiGirolamo. And a 5-yard penalty for NexGen. DiGirolamo floats that one out to Raider. Raider all the way to the sideline, finds Thorne. Thorne, quick pass to DiGirolamo, finding Pitt teammate in the end zone. DiGirolamo puts that one away over the goalpost. NexGen gets a break, goes up 10-7 with 6 minutes left in the second half. Great job utilizing the entire width of the field on that point. Jimmy Mickle, big high floating pole. Not a lot of distance though, as that line's near midfield. Relatively short field for the spinners. Katzenbach left without a mark in the middle of the field. Up to Rainwater. Herman. And a foul on the mark. They get 10 yards. Brandoff, travel called on him. Rounding his cut after he catches that disc. Loses 5 yards. Spinners offense back in play. Kotzen block. Marking Thor. Loud up to Rainwater. And a foul on the mark. Rainwater gets half the distance. They're right outside the goal line. And Brandoff able to find Jake Herman in the end zone. Cuts that lead to 2. NexGen up 10-8. 4 minutes, 18 seconds left in this second half. The NexGen 2012 Tour is made possible by our sponsors, Discraft and Patagonia. Our broadcast made possible by the help of our sponsor, Elemental Technology. Elemental Technology helping out in the London Olympics right now. A big name. We're happy to have them be partners with us. And Nick Lance from inside his own end zone. High floaty pass to Tyler DiGirolamo. And DiGirolamo getting up big, snacking that disc in his left hand over Sean Murray. Foul is called on the mark as DiGirolamo is able to gain 5 yards. Disc gets tapped back in. And a continuation counts as DiGirolamo was able to find Janin. The cousin connection goes the other way as DiGirolamo on the assist side. NexGen up 11-8, less than 4 minutes left in the second half. First half. NexGen defense hoping to extend their lead. It's Jimmy Mickle set to pull. Get some more distance on that one. As Brandoff receives it 10 yards outside his end zone. Up to Bear. And Bear huck immediately to Katzenbach. But that one sails away towards the sideline. Trey Katzenbach not going to have a chance. And Nick Lance able to pick up the disc for the defense. The chance to break, extend their lead to 4. Resets to Johnson. Johnson all the way across the field to Raider. Lamar. Johnson on the sideline, and Johnson goes deep. Nick Lance snuck away from his players. That disc went out of bounds. Nick Lance trying to make the read and stretch over the line, but can't get a finger on the disc. Bear picking this one up on the cone. Eric Johnson gets the goal. His second Callahan in 2 games. David Bear going around, puts too much float on that disc intended for Brandoff. And Eric Johnson, savvy enough to keep his feet on the good side of the end zone line, catches that disc, and makes it a quick defensive point. They go up 12-8. Great play from Eric Johnson. The Callahan, typically a very rare sight to see in an ultimate game. And Eric Johnson making it look like it's an everyday thing. Dylan's free child, pull for the defense, lands on the goal line. Nice layout catch by Sean Murray. And downfield was an offensive foul. Spinners losing 5 yards. Galen with the disc, resets to Pana. All the way across the field to Murray. And Murray going deep to Lindsay, but DiGirolamo owning the air on that one. Chris Kocher calling a timeout with 1 minute, 41 seconds left in this first half. Wanting to be very sure that the team is able to put this one in and extend their lead to 5. In the second half, second timeout here in the first half, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a minute. And welcome back to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia Spinners taking on the NexGen All-Stars as the bus rolls in for their 8th stop of the tour. Halfway through, we're playing the game a little bit differently, going under AUDL rules. So far, not a problem for the bus. Disc gets tapped in. Will Driscoll. Deep to Tyler DiGirolamo. Another great grab. He dumps it to Thorne. And Colin Camp unable to hold on to it. This Patrick Lindsay puts on the pressure with layout D. And there's a floaty huck intended for Sean Murray. Matt Rader mistimes his jump. Murray able to pick it up. And after a long point, Spinners offense able to score that, keep the game close, 12-9. A minute left in this first half. Outside in pull from Matt Galen. Gonna roll some. The bus is off and running. Janin, nice break to Lee. Jimmy Mickle scoops it inches off the ground. Dumps to Freechild. Freechild upfield to Lamar. 30 seconds left. Mickle, Lamar. And Spinner's able to get a hand on it, but Jacob Janin cleans up, and then Chris Kocher. Great catch by him over Ben Johnson. With 7 seconds left in the second quarter, Chris Kocher able to reel that in. Keep the offensive point alive. And put NexGen up 13-9. Again, we see a big, tall defensive line and Eric Johnson coming out in the field. Seven seconds left. Wanting to stop the big huck that's sure to come at the end of the half. Jimmy Mickle to pull. Great pulls. That one bounces out of the end zone. Clock doesn't start until an offensive player touches the disc. David Bear gonna walk that up to the goal line. When he taps it in, the 7 seconds will start ticking away. Time started. It's Matt Galen. Puts it up, floats, time runs out. And Spinners trying the tactic of macking that disc all the way into the end zone. It doesn't work though, falls to the ground. And that's the end of the first half of this game of the Philadelphia Spinners versus the NexGen All-Stars. All-Stars up 13-9. But it is a long game, folks. And we will see how the second half plays out. Please join us for the conclusion here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We'll be back in a few. And welcome back to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. NexGen All-Stars taking on the Philadelphia Spinners. We're on the full-size football field playing by AUDL rules. Start of the second half. NexGen up 13-9. And here we go. Brandoff, disc in the middle of the field. Katzenbach to Rainwater on the sideline. Glazer, quick reset to Katzenbach. Brandoff, Rainwater. On the sideline, goes all the way across the field. Finds Stephen Thor. And a quick dish up to Jake Herman. Spinners get a quick offensive point out of the half. Down 10-3 still. The second half of this game should be very interesting. As we said, we're playing by AUDL rules. That means timed games. We've already gone through 2 12-minute quarters. We have 2 more to go, and the score is 13-10. The bus would be feeling close to the end of the game by now, but they still have half a game to go. We'll see how they're able to respond. If the legs are going to hold coming up here in the third and fourth quarter. Philly defense certainly up to the challenge. As Sean Murray pulls the disc. Haas in the middle of the field, NexGen invert stack. Haas upfield. Allison Hall on the sideline. And Allison Hall going to calling camp deep. And calling camp getting the foul call on the reception. Patrick Lindsay pushing him in the back. Crowd not happy with that call. But the disc is going to go back to the thrower, Allison Hall.
Looks like there was a double foul call back to the thrower. A foul on both players.
A foul on both players, double foul, so that just resets back to the thrower. NexGen offense retains possession. Thorne on the sideline, unmarked. Resets a free child. DiGirolamo runs it down on the sideline. Leading past the free child. He's able to grab that right in front of the sideline. Offensive goal for the NexGen bus. They're up 14-10. Oregon players. Creative spikes from them. Offensive line for Philly. Katzenbach. Herman, Glazer, Galen, Brandoff, Rainwater, and Stephen Thor in the 6th position. Jimmy Mickle, big outside in pull. That lands just inside the line. Disc is going to be taken at the cone. Clock starts. Jimmy Mickle trying to get past Thor. Huck goes up. Easily grabbed by Raider. Gets it to Lamar. Driscoll. NexGen defense moving upfield quickly. Johnson. Mickle. And Mickle over the top, finding Chris Kocher. NexGen gets a break. First break of the second half goes to the bus. They extend their lead to 5, 15 to 10. Great point from the All-Stars. Starting with a pull by Jimmy Mickle, putting them in the corner. A lot of pressure for an offense, being trapped in your own back corner. Score is now 15 to 10. In a USAU game, this game would be over with, but NexGen able to, NexGen with the opportunity to keep racking up the points here. 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Short pull from the bus. Brandoff with the disc. Junk look from NexGen. Katzenbach. Continues on the sideline. Back to Brandoff. Glazer. All the way across the width of the field to Rainwater. Katzenbach back in the center of the field. Stoddard on the sideline. Very interesting offensive set from Philadelphia. It looks like they're playing in a vertical stack, maybe with 3 handlers back. That's Herman, right outside the end zone. He gets it to Glazer. Glazer is pumped. Still down 15 to 11. As I was saying, Spinner's offensive set, very different from anything that we've really seen before this tour, at least. A vertical stack with 3 handlers playing very close to the disc. Plenty of space to move it around on the width of the field. In the stack, they're breaking off 2 cutters at a time, hitting each side. A third of the field for each cutter. On this wide of a field is plenty of space. Very advantageous for the offense. And a rolling pull. Goes out 5 yards past the midfield. Next, gonna start pinned on their sideline. We see a double team. As we've said, double team here legal in the AUDL. And quickly, Mickle hammers over the top. DiGirolamo has it all the way on the other side of the sideline. Raider up to Kocher, and Kocher. Quick work from the offense. Breaking past that trap zone, immediately getting across the far side of the field. And they work it up easy as Kocher gets it to DiGirolamo. Short point for the bus. 8.5 minutes still left in this third quarter. Jimmy Mickle with the pull. Seems to be pulling upwind, as when he's pulling from the other side, it's easily getting the 80 yards. That one barely reaching 70. Spinners offense now on a roll. Kotzenbach in the middle of the field. Round to Glazer. Resets to Kotzenbach. Rainwater getting away on the sideline. Yard outside his goal line. And quick movement, Jake Herman hits David Stoddard for the quick goal after the huck from Kotzenbach. Spinners still down 4. 16-12. Plenty of time left in this game. A lot of worry from the bus coming into this game about how they were going to adjust to the rule changes. So far, play seems to have gone pretty cleanly, so there doesn't seem to be any problem with making calls or dealing with the referees. A good game of Ultimate. Fun to watch under any circumstances. Here we see another rolling pull. That one gets 5 more yards than the last one. Still, bus pinned on the sideline. They pull the double team. Freechild. Double teamed again. Up to Lee. Freechild. Raider in the middle of the field. One man on the mark. Spinners now fall into man after a brief zone look. Disc gets tapped back in. Violation brings that disc back to Allison Hall. Marked by Aman Nalauda. Raider up line. Raider finding Colin Camp on the dead side with the hammer. DiGirolamo. Nice around backhand. Camden Allison Hall getting the goal. DiGirolamo still the leading goal scorer for the NexGen All-Stars. But Camden Allison Hall not giving up quickly. To the Ironside game, Allison Hall with 9 goals on the tour. DiGirolamo with 14. Two great receivers for their respective offensive teams. Here joining forces on the NexGen All-Star, NexGen 2012 Tour. Kotzenbach with the disc, Glazer on the sideline. Reset to Brandoff in the middle of the field. Glazer wide open on the sideline. Plenty of time. Galen trying to go to Brandoff. Just over his head. Mickle now in possession with the disc, being double teamed. And a timeout called in the field in a high stall count situation. NexGen able to keep possession of the disc. Their defensive line. Defensive line now with possession of the disc. up 17 to 12. A break would be a huge momentum changer for the All-Stars. They could use a comfortable lead going late in this game. If you're looking for more astonishing stats from the NexGen Tour, you can check it out for yourself at LeagueVine. But for me, what I found interesting on the website, Jacob Janin, still without a turn on this tour, 100% retention rate. That guy is money. And here's an interesting one. In all the offensive points that Matt Rader has been in, the offensive line will score 100% offensive efficiency for that player. A new stat coming from LeagueVine. We're happy to partner with them as they're able to get us quick and effective stats here on the 2012 tour. Disc is tapped in. Freechild getting it up line. Freechild fouled on the throw. He's going to keep possession and gain 5 yards. Excuse me, 10 yards. Marked by Pane. He tries to get a hammer to Will Driscoll. Too fast, that one hits the ground. And out of that timeout, Philadelphia switching their personnel, putting in a lot of these D-line players, as we see Owens with the disc now. And Owens unable to get it around. Jacob Janin picking up. Freechild up line. Johnson. And Johnson trying out his hammer. Finds Haas just outside the goal line. Haas, great pivoting. Gets the around throw to Will Driscoll. And that is a break for the All-Stars. They go up 18 to 12, up 6 with just under 5 minutes left in this third quarter. Beautiful night here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Cooled off after it being a hot, hot day here on the East Coast. And the All-Stars definitely hot playing, as they're 6-1 on this tour, hoping to extend the winning streak to 7. Dropping the first game against Bravo, now against the Spinners. Spinners on offense. Katzenbach with Lamar all over him. He's going to get 5 yards. NexGen starting off in a junk set, falls back into man. Rainwater on the sideline, up to Stoddard. Glazer. Back to Rainwater. Stoddard on the other side of the field. Galen. And a backhand all the way to Glazer. Glazer catches it inbounds in the end zone, runs out. Unsure if he was in, but the referee making the touchdown signal. Point for the Spinners offense. They are down 13-18. Little under 4 minutes left in this third quarter. Spinners down 5. Still plenty of time for the defensive line to generate some turns and get themselves back into this game. Matt Rader on that offensive line. Bus is hoping that means an easy score for them. Philip Haas, vertical stack from NexGen. Foul called on the offense. Nick Lance losing 10 yards. Haas, nice grab to save possession. Free child. Reset to Lance. Haas on the sideline. Free child in the middle of the field. Switching fields. Jacob Janin, nice save. Colin Camp puts a throw up to Tyler DiGirolamo. It's short, and Greg Owens getting the D. Owens, big defensive contributor, and Dylan Freechild going up, almost getting a hand on that. Maybe a second Callahan of the game. But a floaty pass. Nick Lance able to put the pressure on Patrick Lindsay. NexGen saving possession. Rader, great layout to pick that one up off the ground. Sacrificing his body as he hits the ground hard. He stays on the ground. For an injury stoppage of play, I do believe Matt Rader is going to have to take a sub, or NexGen would sacrifice a timeout. Still on the ground, indicating it's his right shoulder that took the blunt of that fall. He walks off the field. Jimmy Mickle taking his place. Great play by Matt Rader to prevent NexGen with a short field turn. Time back in. Foul called downfield. Bus gains 5 yards. Jimmy Mickle still with the disc. All the way around to Lance. Free child. Mickle. Colin Camp in the middle of the field. Mickle on the 50. DiGirolamo gets a hand on it. It gets to Jimmy Mickle. He's 10 yards outside his goal line. Resets to Lance on the sideline. And Lance, hammer, 40 yards across the field, finding DiGirolamo. With these 53-yard wide fields. If you're on one sideline, there's plenty of space on the other sideline to get a bailout throw. That time it works out for the Bus. They keep their lead at 6, up 19-13. 1 minute left in this third quarter. Alex Thorne. Low pull, 10 yards deep in the end zone. Katzenbach has it on the sideline, up to Herman, centers to Glazer. And trying to put on the double team. 10-yard penalty for the bus. Glazer can't get that one off to Galen. Lamar picking up the disc. Quick movement from the bus as Kocher has it. Nice backhand on the swing. Kocher finding Thorne in the goal. Thorne's signature kiss spike. A nice break late in this third quarter, 9 seconds left to go. Quick movement from the bus after the turnover. They're able to put that in. The bus is rolling. College All-Stars taking it to this top AUDL team. Battle of the Giants. So far, it's the young guys with the advantage. But getting high in the point count, the question is, will NexGen's legs hold? Defensive line still looking spry. Jimmy Mickle pulling that disc. 10 yards outside the end zone. Quick up. Thor. And at the end of the time, that disc bounces right off of Greg Owens' hands. Not able to make the end of the quarter play. End of the third quarter. NexGen up 20-13. Going into quarter number 4. We will see how this game ends, and we will be back in just a minute. And welcome back for the exciting conclusion of the NexGen All-Stars taking on the Philadelphia Spinners. Playing under AUDL rules here in Philadelphia. Going into the fourth quarter, NexGen up 20-13. NexGen starting off this quarter on defense. Matt Rader to pull. Matt Rader going down the last point that he was in, hitting the turf. With that throw, his shoulder seems to be fine. And here we go, Spinners. Offense, Rainwater on the sideline. All the way across to Bear. And Bear taking it deep. Nick Lance is there. Driscoll is there. And misses from all three players. David Stoddard unable to clean it up. Freechild switching the fields. Centers it to Raider. And Raider leading past to Lance. Is that going to float? Doesn't look like it. That catches the wind, goes all the way out the back. NexGen defense unable to convert that break. Disc on the goal line for Bear. Breaks through the zone to Herman. Rainwater still in the middle of the field. And Will Driscoll getting a hand on it. And his body coming into Glazer. A double foul being called on the reception. This is going to go back to Michael Pana. It's Herman on the sideline, and wow. A lot of action going on. DiGirolamo putting a body on Herman. And then Driscoll trying to get up for the D. Gets under. Trey Katzenbach. Spinners keeping possession. Herman with the disc on the sideline. Sneaking that up line. And over Bear's head. Plenty of players there, but that disc lands on the ground. Defense for the All-Stars. Back in possession with the disc. Hoping to get a break. Lance on the sideline. Breaks the Freechild. DiGirolamo. Great cutting by Driscoll. He gets an easy under. High release to Raider. Beautiful throw by Will Driscoll. Releasing that over his defender's shoulder. It gets all the way to Matt Raider right in the end zone. NexGen extends their lead to 8. Up 21-13. Little over 9 minutes here in this fourth quarter. Comfortable lead for the Bus, but they don't want to stop. Looking to set that scoring record in the AUDL. Defense on again. High pull from Jimmy Mickle. Received by Braz. An immediate huck. Finds Arthur Scholl. Excuse me, not Arthur Scholl. That's Greg Owens in the end zone. Greg Owens getting past everyone. Quick goal from the Spinners offense. Just what they need to get their feet back under themselves here late in the game. Matt Galen, 75-yard pull. Thorne with the disc. Drops into Mickle's hands. Mickle without a mark. Sit around to Thorne. Nice backhand to Lamar. Reset. And a travel on Mickle. It was a reception travel, so they keep possession, losing 5 yards though. Johnson. Johnson all the way around to Kocher. Thorne. Johnson. Thorne. NexGen All-Stars having no issue working it. And just as I say that, they go deep to Camden Allison Hall. He gets a foot in the end zone. NexGen up 22-14. A great point for the All-Stars as they're able to conserve a lot of energy, playing it around in the backfield. Not a lot of cuts coming out of that stack. So cutters are able to rest their legs for a bit until Thorne finally gets it on the sideline. And Allison Hall has steps. He is a fast receiver. And if you throw that disc in front of him, no one's going to catch up. All smiles on the sideline for the All-Stars. Defensive point in the fourth quarter. Spinners setting up in a vert stack with an isolation. Zone takes away their first play. Glazer has it on the sideline. Quick transition into man. Stoddard. Back to Bear. Stoddard on the sideline. Kotzenbach. Rainwater in the middle of the field. Rainwater going deep to Glazer. Driscoll's there, and Driscoll getting up early, knocking that disc away. Will Driscoll, great defensive player from Texas, playing for double wide in the club season. And the bus with another chance to break. Raider in the middle of the field. Jannon. Jannon getting a backhand. Freechild can't get under it. Tough throw going upwind. Another chance for the Spinners offense. Stoddard has it. Glazer. Kotzenbach without a mark. Bear. Tommy Lee gets a hand on Jake Herman. 10-yard gain. Jake Herman on the live side, can't keep a hand on the disc. Dylan Freechild is going to take a timeout. Bit of a rest, hoping to punch this break in. And a timeout here in the fourth quarter. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back for the exciting conclusion in Philadelphia. And we are live back here in Philadelphia. NexGen All-Stars up 22-14. against the Philadelphia Spinners. AUDL team preparing for their regional championship this weekend against the Rhode Island Rampage. Eastern Division Championship. Winner of that game will go on to the first AUDL championship game. But this game is all All-Stars. Now on offense with the chance to get a break. Matt Rader going up to Freechild. Pack of players underneath. Freechild getting a hand on it. Too much float though, as 3 Spinners defenders gets in there. Maroon on the sideline. Mark Browning. Back to Maroon. Lauda. Jaffa on the sideline. Leading pass. And Harrison Treegrove picking that one up. Out of the timeout, Spinners takes a personnel change, puts a stronger defensive line on, and it works out for them as they're able to get the disc back and put it in. Still down 7, 22-15, with just under 5 minutes left in this game. Spinners really needing to dig deep here late in the game. Defensive line needs to generate something. NexGen offense, though, doing a very good job keeping the possession. By this point, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of handler movement out of their offense. Resting their cutters. To the vert stack, Jacob Jannon coming under. Will Driscoll second cut. Kocher on the sideline. Centers to Lance. And a great bid by Greg Owens. With Tommy Lamar having his hand on that disc fully before Owens gets his hand in there. Floaty pass. And Leon Chow, again there with the pressure on Nick Lance. Leon Chow, if anyone's going to generate turns, it's going to be him. Leads the Spinners in D's with 24 total on the season. That one mark up as a turnover. Unforced for NexGen. And Chow going deep. Lots of players under there. Greg Owens getting up big. From up here, it looked like he had a full hand on that disc. But he stays down, holding his hamstring. Looks like it's just a cramp, nothing too serious. We'd like to take a brief moment to thank our sponsors, Discraft and Patagonia, for making the bus tour happen. And of course, for Elemental Technologies, providing us with the power to give you the live broadcast here today. Back in this game, Greg Owens going up big over everyone. Possession of the disc, but it falls out of his hands as he comes in contact with NexGen players. So foul called, and the Spinners are going to keep the disc. Bear right outside the end zone. And Leon Chow, great layout right in front of Will Driscoll. Driscoll poaching off his man in the back. And Excellent grab. Sacrificing his body there. Brings the spinners 16 to 22 within 6, but just a little over 3 minutes late in this game. Maybe not enough time. And look at the grit on Leon Chow. After taking a hit like that, he's still on the line. The D leader wanting to take the game into his own hands. Inspiration down there on the field. We'll see if it pays off for them. Galen with the pull. 90 yards. Lance has it. Allison Hall on the sideline. Takes a safe option all the way around to Thorne. Kocher plenty of space. And Kocher backhand to Allison Hall. Tails away from the speedy cutter though. Spinners defense. Now with the disc, little under 3 minutes. Matt Galen picking it up. They're gonna have to put in these points quick if they want to make this game close. Galen all the way across. On the sideline is Friedrich Brass, wearing number 8. And Steven Thor saving what was a sure turnover, coming out of the backfield. Leon Chow with the disc. Nice break. And Thor trying to make the big play. Didn't see Michael Bear behind him. 2 minutes left in the game. NexGen offense still in possession. Allison Hall on the sideline. DiGirolamo. Allison Hall on the reset. DiGirolamo. Holstering the huck to his teammate. Lance has it, and Lance flick all the way across the field. Thorne, no one on him. Alex Thorne getting the goal. Brings NexGen to 23. 1 minute and 23 seconds left in this game. And the NexGen All-Stars coming into this game, playing under different rules, with a short roster, almost playing a full 2 games in a row. But they are still dominating the competition. Who can stop the bus? Top players, not only in college, but also in club. Jimmy Mickle pulling the disc. Minute and 23 seconds left. David Baird receive. Panna over to Stoddard. Katzenbach. Glazer. Glazer finds Panna. Panna, great wherewithal to jump in the end zone. Not needing to wait for any cutters. Brings the score to 17. Even with this loss for the Philadelphia Spinners, it might not be the worst thing for them, as they're heading into the Eastern Conference Championships this weekend. They're able to have a full game to take a look at their weaknesses without anything at stake. I'm sure the coach will want to take a look at this film, see what his team can improve on, sharpen their skills, and make some last-minute adjustments, as they're hoping to take the conference finals and go all the way to the inaugural AUDL championship game. And there we go, an offsides call. And the USAU rules, you need 2 offsides to get the disc at midfield. But here in the AUDL, the first offsides and the offense takes the disc at midfield. So here with less than a minute left, NexGen on offense. Matt Rader on the sideline. Lamar. Dump the Thorn. Break to DiGirolamo. Flips it up to Freechild. Floating pass. Dylan Freechild. What an exciting player to watch. Gets up over Kevin Chang. Scores at 24. 27 seconds left in the fourth quarter. A great night here in Philadelphia. Clear skies and full moon. And halfway through the tour, NexGen is going to extend their lead to extend their record to 7-1. .27 seconds left. Glazer on the sideline. Gets it up to Herman. Bear. Bear all the way across the field. Finds Rainwater. Stoddard. Final seconds. Will Driscoll cleans that disc up as the time runs out. NexGen takes this game 24-17, official score count. 7-1 here in Philadelphia. Adjusting well to the AUDL rules as they take down top AUDL team Philadelphia Spinners. We'd like to thank our production crew, Vin Bowie and Kimber Coles. Cameraman on the field, Brian Bedord. Cameraman up here in the booth. We have our guest, Jesse Friedman. Jackson Kelsey, doing it live. And the man who makes it happen, Kevin Minderhout. Driver of the bus, #1 dad. Be sure to find us in Washington, D.C. as we take on Truck Stop on the next stop of the NexGen 2012 tour. As for myself, I'm Topher Davis. Vin, take us out.